Hey, what's going on, Who That Nation? It is yours truly, TJ Jones, the host of the State of the Saints podcast, and welcome to a special live edition of the State of the Saints podcast on YouTube. And I just wanted to go live to talk a little bit about Larry Warford and also to answer some of the questions that you YouTubers may have for me. I want to say thank you very much. Normally, what I do is I go live on Facebook the majority of the time, but I do want to give opportunity to those that watch the YouTube videos, to give me any questions that you may have. And I really do appreciate your time, taking the time out of your busy schedule to be a part of this live stream. I just want to talk about Larry Warford. I mean, honestly, I know the offensive line position isn't the most exciting position to talk about. I mean, we don't really address it that much. And the only reason we talk about it is when the Saints have a bad game, or everybody in the Who That Nation, or the majority of you will say, they weren't blocking for Drew Brees. Drew Brees had a bad game because of the offensive line. They weren't blocking for him. That's the only time we get an opportunity to talk about the offensive line. But I want to talk about Larry Warford because Larry Warford is a really good offensive lineman. Okay, he's a really good offensive lineman. But if you look at the NFL draft and the fact that the Saints drafted Cesar Ruiz in the first round of the NFL draft, and you know that you have Eric McCoy that is the center, and he can also play guard. You have to say the I man out has got to be Larry Warford, especially since Andrews Pete just signed a 5-year deal. So, Larry Warford, what can we say about him? Larry Warford came to the Saints in 2017 and has made the Pro Bowl every single year he's been with the New Orleans Saints. He's been a steady offensive lineman. He had a down year this past year. I guess if you want to compare it to other years, but still, Larry Warford's down year is better than some offensive linemen's best years. So I want to say to Larry Warford, I know he's a good guy, man. Every time like I comment or say something about him, like on social media, man, he always respond. I remember when he first got signed with the Saints. He I told him, welcome to New Orleans. He said, thank you, man. He's a real personable guy, good guy, man. And I wish him the best, man. But it don't look like he's going to be with the New Orleans Saints. I'll be highly surprised if he's with the New Orleans Saints by the beginning of the season. I think the Saints are going to try to shop him. I think he's probably going to end up getting traded. And I think that the Saints are going to get a big return on their investment. What would be a good, I guess, a good in return thing for the New Orleans Saints when it comes to Larry Warford? In my opinion, I have to say it had to be about a second round. Larry Warford is still young. He's like 28 years old. He still has a lot of playing left. He's going to be a steady offensive lineman on somebody's team. He's a better run blocker than he is a pass blocker, but he does a lot of great things. And I think the New Orleans Saints can get a second round or even a third round pick out of Larry Warford, but I don't see him playing for the New Orleans Saints. It wasn't a big deal in my opinion that he had a down year, and I don't feel like him having a down year was the issue. Why the Saints are trying to shop him around? The Saints are just trying to save some money because they understand that they're going to have to pay Ryan Ramczyk. Ryan Ramczyk is going to be the highest paid right tackle in football, and he deserves to be the right best. Well, he deserves to be the highest paid right tackle in football. And also, Alvin Kamara needs to get paid. Marshawn Lattimore needs to get paid. If you want to pay Marcus Williams, I mean, so many other guys need to get paid. So it looks like he's a casualty of war. I mean, to be honest with you. So I think the Saints are most likely are going to go with Armstead, and then of course, the left guard is going to be Andrews Pete. The center is going to be Cesar Ruiz. They're going to move Eric McCoy from center to guard, and then they're going to have Ryan Ramczyk. That is going to be the offensive line for the New Orleans Saints the 2020 season. Now, let's look at some teams that might be able to acquire the services of a Larry Warford. What team would be able to go after him? One team in particular I feel like that needs the help would be the Miami Dolphins. The Miami Dolphins are a team that need offensive line help. They got Tua Tagovailoa. He's a guy that, let's just call it for what it is. He's a guy that's going to get hurt, or he's very injury prone. And one thing that the Dolphins are going to try to do is try to keep him upright. Yeah, you're probably going to have Ryan Fitzpatrick for a couple games just to try to, ease the rookie in. But eventually, he's going to be in the game and he's going to have to play all 16. So that would be a good spot for him with the Miami Dolphins. Another team would be the Arizona Cardinals. The Arizona Cardinals last season took some steps forward, but they still need some help at the offensive line to protect young Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray is a guy that can scramble around in the pocket. He's a guy that can do some rollouts, and he does some great things, but he still needs some offensive line help. So that would be a good landing spot for him as well. Tom Brady, thank you very much for your $2 donation, my friend. Thank you so much. That would be another spot, the Arizona Cardinals. Another spot I feel like he will fit in really well. And I hate to say it like this, Who That Nation, but it's one of our rival teams, and that's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Saints and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are not strangers to doing business with one another. We know about some Saints players going to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and vice versa. So I can see him playing for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, trying to protect Tom Brady. I can see the Tampa Bay Buccaneers possibly giving up, a second round or a third round pick to the New Orleans Saints because they're trying to win right now because of a old 42-year-old Tom Brady. So you know that there are going to be some offensive line issues out there trying to protect him. That is going to be the main focus. Jermaine, thank you very much, man. Jermaine Thomas, hey man, I think that's my frat brother. Thank you very much, Jermaine. Thank you so much, man, for to the donating to the show, man. I appreciate that so much, man. Shouts out to him. Let's see. Let's go ahead and open the floor up for some of the questions that you may have. Mike, what's going on, Mike? Mike says trade him for Fournette straight up. Hopefully, the Jags would go for it. I wouldn't trade him for Leonard Fournette because, Mike, you might have yourself an issue. You have to understand, Mike, the big issue of trading Larry Warford is the fact that he demands $8 million. You will be trading him for a guy that is up for a contract, okay? I mean, this is the final year of Leonard Fournette's rookie deal. So you know he's going to be looking for big money. So the same issue that you're going to have uh, because of Larry Warford, you will be having the same issue because of Leonard Fournette. You'll basically be trading out contractual issues. And honestly, Leonard Fournette will probably demand more money than Larry Warford will because Larry Warford only asking for 8. You know, Leonard Fournette is probably going to want about 12 or $13 million a year. So, Mike, as much as a lot of people in the Who That Nation want to see Leonard Fournette in the Saints uniform, to me, if you're a businessman or you're a general manager, that is not a good idea. That you will be honestly setting your team back because like I said, the biggest issue with Larry Wolford is how much money he demands, and Leonard Fournette is going to demand a lot of money as well. Hello, TJ Hudak. What's going on, Mike? Dada. Wolford needs to step up this year. I don't know if he's gonna be here. That was the whole thing, Dada. I don't think he's gonna be here this year. So reasonable second or third round pick. Yeah, man. I mean, he checks all the boxes. Okay, good offensive line, check. Young, check. Got years ahead of him, check. So second or third round, I think that would be a good spot for Larry Warford. Second rounder would be beautiful. Raiders could be a possible destination for him. Yeah, I can see him playing for the Raiders as well. That's a good spot for him. Uh, I had an uncle. I have the nerve to say Warford was the reason Kamara was struggling. I slipped, I slipped out of the conversation right there. Yeah, man. I don't think one had anything to do with the other. I just think that it was just a down year. It was just a down year for Larry Warford as well as Alvin Kamara. So hopefully these guys can get their careers back on track. Left tackle, Armstead, right guard, Pete, Cesar Ruiz at center. Yep, McCoy. Yep, that's basically what I just said. Could the Saints also be shopping Armstead, paying Pete? Man, absolutely not, man. Nah, I don't see them shopping Andrews. I mean, yeah, Armstead. I'm sorry. Yeah, shopping Armstead. I can't see them shopping Armstead. I really can't see that happening. Armstead is a really good player. Yeah, he has some injuries, but when he's on the field, he's one of the best left tackles in football. Top three left tackles in football when he's healthy. 2020 NFL schedule released tomorrow night. Yeah, Jared Poore, my guy, Jerry. I'm probably gonna be doing a show on that. Well, ain't no probably. I will be doing a show once the NFL schedule is released. I definitely will be doing a show. DA says, TJ, now that Larry has two young guys going after his job, do you think he comes into camp in shape and playing lights out to keep his roster spot and get paid? DA, I believe that's going to happen, but I feel like it's a little bit too little, too late when it comes to Larry Warford. I think the writing is on the wall. I think the Saints already made up their mind what they're going to do. I think that he is the casualty of war. He's a cap casualty, if you will. He's the guy that's going to lose out and possibly be traded because the Saints aren't going to be able to afford him. And the best thing for them to do right now is to try to get some kind of return on investment, in the process, because you're not going to sign him back. Because if you have to choose out of Ryan Ramczyk and Larry Warford, man, my goodness, this is a no brainer. I'm going with Ryan Ramczyk. Mike says the Browns. Yeah, I can see the Browns too. I can see the Browns. Uh, honestly, this is a look. I put it to you this way. Okay, if you want to be a hole, okay, you'll try to go and shop and get the best offer for the best team. If you don't want to be an a-hole, you go to Larry Warford and you say, look, Larry, look, we're not going to be able to afford you next year. We're thinking about trading you. Can you give us some teams that you may be interested in going to? Something like that. You know what I'm saying? The teams that you don't want to go to. If they do something like that, then that'll be fine. But we know that the NFL is not like the NBA. The NBA guys actually, tell the team what teams they want to go to, what teams they don't want to play for, and the teams try to adjust and try to accommodate that player. But in the NFL, there is no there's no love lost between players and organizations. So um, I can see him playing for the Browns because the Saints will be trying to get a better pick. They feel like the Browns are probably giving them a better draft pick versus trying to trade with somebody like the Patriots or something like that. But I mean, looking at the Patriots this year, hey, you never know. TJ, have you did your homework on Marquise Callaway and Jawan Johnson? Yeah, King Arthur, I actually have, man. I know both guys. I watched both guys in college. I watched them play. I talked about it on my last live I did on Facebook. I talked about how I feel like those guys are going to have a tough sledding as far as like heading towards August because they don't have the chemistry that other players have with the quarterbacks. You have young guys that can come in, and I feel like they have a lot of talent, but I feel like the lack of chemistry and the lack of reps are going to cost them, and they might end up on the practice squad. Not to say that these guys might not end up being activated, because someone gets hurt or something like that, but I feel like they're going to start the season on the practice squad due to the fact that all the other wide receivers on the Saints roster are familiar with Drew Brees and they're familiar with Taysom Hill. Not so much Jameis Winston, but we all know that, like I said, man, Drew Brees is not, in my opinion, not going to be hurt this season. I think he's going to play all 16 games. So you got to make sure that you have chemistry with those two guys at the most. So I don't see them playing, but I think I like their upside, and I think they have a lot of promise. Fournette to the Saints makes no sense. Stop talking about LSU players to the Saints because it won't happen. Invictus Samaritan, man, Invictus, man, thank you so much, for your comment. I understand what people feel about LSU players. They want, if it was up to some Saints fans, they have a whole LSU team. It would look like a professional LSU team. But LSU has a lot of talent. But just because they go to LSU or they went to LSU, don't mean that they got to play for the Saints. This is not, this isn't a spinoff or anything like this. This isn't like a main TV show and a spinoff. Like The Saints do not have to go out here and get LSU players. They have no obligation to get LSU players, man. Would we like to see some of those talented LSU players play in New Orleans? Yeah, but at the same time, I can understand why the Saints don't want to pursue him. Because to be honest with you, folks, some of the best things in the world that happen to some of these players is the fact that they go to other states and they go to other cities because they don't have to deal with the same people that they grew up around, possibly being bad influences. And we all know, man, let's just call it for what it is, people. Y'all know what I'm talking about, man. If you ever lived in a certain neighborhood and then you end up, leaving that particular neighborhood, maybe going on to be successful, doing your job, making some bread, having a family, some people around that neighborhood gonna be hating on you because of your success. They're gonna be hating on you because they feel like what makes you any different from them. They're gonna be mad that you had opportunities that they didn't pursue. So it's probably best for those players to get the heck up out of Dodge, man. So I don't too much blame the Saints for not wanting to get some of these guys, man. Some of these guys need to go somewhere else in order for them to grow and develop and mature. I feel like you can't do that at home sometimes, man. I mean, I'm a Christian guy, man. I study the Bible, and they talk about Jesus or whatever. They say that Jesus was most hated in his hometown of Nazareth, man. They tried to throw Jesus off a cliff. So you know what I'm saying? Like, so I feel like people hate. I don't want to say they hate you, but people have a level of envy towards people that come from the places that they come from, and then they see them prosper, and man, it might not end up good. So it's probably best for those guys to go somewhere and create a life somewhere else. That's the reason I feel the Saints don't really pursue those guys. And not to mention, man, a couple years back, call it for what it is, man. The LSU Tigers, man, it looked like, man, it looked like Angola out there or something, man. Like it seemed like guys were getting kicked off the team, guys were getting arrested, guys were getting, you know, marijuana possession, all that kind of stuff there, man. Fights on campus. Like I wouldn't want them to be a part of the Saints team. If they are an hour and 30 minutes away from Baton Rouge, man, you don't think it is nothing but a car ride, man? It's nothing but a straight ride over Lake Pontchartrain, man. Y'all know what it is, man. Straight I-10. Y'all know what it is, man. Straight over, you know what I'm saying, the Lake Pontchartrain Bridge, straight down there, hour and 30 minutes to Baton Rouge. I mean, it's a car ride. So, I mean, these guys can align themselves with negative influences, but it's hard to get to those negative influences if you're from New Orleans and you play for the Miami Dolphins. You know what I'm saying? It's hard for you to get home every single day, if you're out there in Miami. So that's the way I feel about the LSU players. Not to say these guys aren't talented, but I have to say, man, I'm kind of glad that they get opportunities to go other places because it gives them opportunities to mature and not have those negative influences around them. And y'all know what it is. Like I said, man, if you from a certain place and man, y'all know how people can hate on you for being successful or trying to be successful or trying to move forward. People don't want you to move forward, man. They want to put you down in that hole right along with them, man. Straight up. So I don't blame them at all. Are we playing at Las Vegas and at Los Angeles? I hope so. I think we playing at Las Vegas. I have to get back to you on the Los Angeles thing. TJ, was that you on Big Q podcast a few weeks ago, or was that someone using your name? Big Q. Nah, it wasn't me. And maybe, I mean, look, look, I ain't the only person named TJ. You know what I'm saying? Like, shoot, I don't know. I'm not the only person named TJ. I don't own rights to TJ. They got about 1,000,001 TJs. So, I mean, but it wasn't me on Big Q podcast. And, he not using my name. I'm pretty sure his name was TJ for a long time, too. Trade him to Jacksonville. They always seem to need O-line help. See if we can land a DN they have. I don't want to trade player for player. I'm in the business of building teams. If I was a coach, I would want to be a team builder. I'm not really big on guys coming in that can demand a lot of money. I understand like the veteran aspect of it. You don't have to really teach them that much, but at the same time, you get a young player in, you can mold them in your image. I mean, you can teach them the Saints way, and you don't have to worry about some of those, negative influences from other teams. the Jacksonville Jaguars or the Browns players that come in. They are saying the Saints are not the favorite to win the division. Give me a break. Tampa Bay is hot garbage. Look, I seen that. I didn't know if I wanted to talk about that, Jerry. I probably was going to save that for another show. But since you brought it up, my friend, I will gladly talk about Tampa Bay. Look, I understand how happy Tampa Bay fans are. Look, I'm not gonna knock them, man. And honestly, I'm gonna be real with y'all, Who That Nation. I really don't have anything against Tampa Bay. I don't. I don't have a problem. I don't dislike them like I like that team or the Carolina Panthers. I'm actually okay with Tampa, man. Not because of. I mean, not because I understand the rivalry aspect, but they really haven't done anything for me to really be upset at them about or hate them about. Look, they fans have a right to be happy. All right. I mean, it wasn't the same way in '06 because we didn't know what Drew Brees was going to be. But y'all get what I'm saying, man. Like it's been such a long time since these guys been happy, man. Year after year of disappointment, man. Now think about this: the last 3 years, at the end of the season, we've been left with disappointment. Imagine that since 2008. Okay, in 2008, I was just graduated from Jackson State University. Okay, I mean, so for 12 years, this team has sucked. They stunk. They reeked. Okay, we know they were hot garbage, as Jerry said. But at the same time, man, everybody deserves to be happy. Man, you probably been in a relationship with somebody and you probably couldn't stand that person after you broke up with them. Man, you probably don't have anything good to say about that person. But a part of you in the back of your mind, you probably thinking to yourself, man, I hope this person is happy one day. I hope they find somebody special and they live their life. That's the same way with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to me, okay? They've been stinking it up. They've been dealing with heartbreak. They've been frustrated. They've been pulling their hair out. They've been burning jerseys. They've been buying new jerseys. They've been doing all these different things looking for a level of happiness. And now they have it, man. Let them have it. They can have it as long as they want to because this is the most beautiful thing about all this, Who That Nation. You can't win games on paper. I'm going to say that again. You cannot win games on paper. Games are won by players. Games are won by chemistry. Games are won by coaching. If I was to put everything on the line, coaching, chemistry, team, I'm rolling with the New Orleans Saints. Okay? I'm rolling with the New Orleans Saints. I can care less about how a team look on paper. Okay? If we're playing Madden, maybe I'll be a little worried if I was simulating the game. But I'm not, okay? This is a game called real life. And you play between the lines. And it don't matter what the aficionados are saying. It doesn't matter what the media is saying. It doesn't matter what Tampa Bay fans are saying. All that matters is what a team does on Sunday. Can the New Orleans Saints win more games than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and vice versa? In my opinion, no, they cannot. You have to take into account the chemistry that has to be involved, the lack of OTAs, the lack of mini camp, the lack of the rookie camp, the lack of training camp. And then you have to come in August being ready and willing to and ready to rock and roll and have chemistry with those players. All I have to say is, man, please. The New Orleans Saints don't even have a virtual or even a collective workout in the off season. And I still feel like they're going to be a better team because they have something I like to call chemistry. And that's something that Tampa does not have. So I'm not concerned about what DraftKings saying. I'm not concerned what Skip Bayless has to say. I don't care what Max Kellerman or Stephen A. Smith have to say. It really does not matter. What matters is what you do on Sunday. And what matters is what kind of team you have. And the team that the Saints have, in my opinion, at this point, is better than a Tampa Bay team. Let's see. TJ, do you think Jack Rabbit can hold down the fort at cornerback number 2, or do you think we need more depth at the cornerback position? We cannot allow PJ to go to the outside. King Arthur, that's a very good point. First off, to start off your point, can Jack Rabbit be that number 2? Absolutely, man. Janoris Jenkins only played 3 games with the New Orleans Saints, And you can make an argument to say that he was the best cornerback on the Saints team in those 3 weeks. That's including Marshawn Lattimore. That's the truth. I mean, y'all seen how frustrated that man had Stephon Diggs. He had him throwing his helmet on the sideline, had him crying and boo-hooing. You know what I'm saying? Getting all up in the coach's faces, talking about he want the ball like he Keyshawn Johnson back in '97. You know, like Janoris Jenkins is an animal, man. This dude is a dog. You know, and I think that a lot of what happened with Janoris Jenkins in New York was the fact that he realized that the team sucked. I mean, it's just the truth. He realized that the team stunk. It sucked. It was an embarrassment. He knew he probably wasn't gonna make the playoffs, and that can bring a toll on you, man. Especially like when you start getting into your 30s and your career starting to wind down. Yeah, it's about making money, but when you start reaching 28, 29, and 30, man, that's when you start thinking about legacy. And how do you remember, man? How do you remember? You're remembered by winning championships. You're remembered by winning Super Bowls. Okay, there's a reason why we remember guys from way back in the day because they won championships. And there are guys that get swept under the rug. This is a prime example right here. I don't know if some of you have been following the ESPN documentary, The Last Dance, with Michael Jordan and the '98 Chicago Bulls. But there was a clip, I think it was episode 6, that the Chicago Bulls, they squared off against the Phoenix Suns in the 1992 NBA Finals. Okay, they squared off against them. And they squared off against Kevin Johnson, Duncan Marley, and Charles Barkley, man. And Charles Barkley was the MVP of the National Basketball Association that year. And now we fast forward to today, we look at Charles Barkley being the butt of everybody's jokes. Every time he on stage, on NBA, on TNT, Shaq going at him, talking about he never won no championships. And some people just, they get on social media and they start talking about Charles Barkley, man, he ain't never won nothing. But you have to think, man, Charles Barkley was the MVP of the league. Now, imagine if Charles Barkley could have won a championship somewhere. He'll probably be mentioned as one of the greatest power forwards of all time. But I feel like sometimes he gets swept under the rug and his achievements get swept under the rug because he never won a championship. I say that to say this. When you got a guy like Janoris Jenkins who's been losing all those years in New York and you come to New Orleans, you get a whole new lease on life, man. And you start to play a little better because you feel like guys are going to be competitive and you feel like guys want to win just as much as you. So I feel like Janoris Jenkins can be the number 2 cornerback, and I feel like he is going to be much better than he probably even was with the New York Football Giants. And do I feel like we need to get depth at the cornerback position, King Arthur? Absolutely, man. Like, you can never have too many secondary players. You can never have too many of them, okay? I mean, guys go down all the time. They go down, they get hurt, and you have to have a good rotation. So the Saints definitely need depth at the cornerback position. So that's just my honest assessment on that. Let's see what else we got on here. That's a good question, King Arthur. King Arthur always got good questions. Him, Jerry, Mike, Invictus, man. Some of y'all, man, y'all always got some good questions. Don't we have Janoris Jenkins for a reason? Yeah, we do. I'm from Jackson, right off Lynch Street. Yeah, man. That's my old stomping ground right there. Jackson State University, man. 1400 J.R. Lynch Street. That's my old stomping ground right there. Shouts out to all them Jackson State Tigers out there. Let's see. Bucks fans are more happier than the team fan base. Yeah. Hey, they deserve to be happy, man. Let's give them their moment. Saints were just a fairy tale story in 2006, 10-6 with a first round bye. It's so rare, and we got destroyed by Rex Grossman and made him look like what Deshaun Watson is today. Invictus, yeah, man. If you can describe the 2006 New Orleans Saints, it would be overachievers. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what they were. They were overachievers. The New Orleans Saints in 2006 were just a bunch of reserve players that nobody wanted. Players that were put together, a team that was put together with spit and glue, but it was just the love for the fan base and them playing for something, kind of catapult them. But like you said, 10-6, like that's very rare. Normally, teams that get a first round bye, I mean, they're like 12-4, 13-3, or even 11-5. So they definitely overachieved in 2006, and they were lucky enough to have a home game. They weren't gonna lose at home during that time, and they end up, running into a buzzsaw that was the Chicago Bears. They weren't prepared. Let's see. And when I said screw them, I meant Max, Colin, Skip, Steven, you name it. Yeah, man. I mean, look, they got a job to do. They just trying to create some ratings. That's what it's all about, man. It's about creating ratings, and that's what they're doing. If you ask those guys an hour after they get off the set what they said, they probably couldn't tell you. TJ didn't know you went to JSU. I did too. Yeah, man, I went to JSU from 2005 to 2008. Yep, right after Hurricane Katrina. I enrolled at Jackson State University on September 10th, 2005. I'll never forget that day. Of course, shouts out to my cousin Brenda. She allowed us to stay at her home in Vicksburg, Mississippi after, we got displaced, and from New Orleans. And she looked on a computer, man. She was like, Jackson State opening their doors up for people that was victims of Katrina. And her, along with my aunt Roxanne, they took me down there to Jackson State University, man. And the rest is history. That's how I ended up down there. Graduated from there, and 3 years later. Let's see. 4 catches Janoris allowed in 3 games, and cornerback number 2 matchup with Corey Davis, Curtis Samuel, and Stephon Diggs. Yep, that sounds pretty good to me. Do you think Love to the Packers was a terrible pick, TJ? No, I don't think it was a bad pick. I think that it was a pick for the future. I think that Aaron Rodgers is on borrowed time. Look, man, I hate to say it. No, I don't. Aaron Rodgers is an a-hole. You know what I'm saying? That's just what it is, man. And you can be an a-hole as long as you want to, but if you're an a-hole and you winning is one thing. If you're an a-hole and you're getting hurt and you're not getting your team over the hump and you're not making any of your teammates better, then they're gonna try to find ways to get you up out of there, man. And I think that them moving up for Jordan Love, it just speaks volumes, man. It speaks volumes and says that they want to go in a different direction. And he better not mess around and get hurt, or he better not mess around and miss any games because we all know, man, that a fan base can turn on you quick. How do they turn on you quick? Is when that person comes in and they start winning. So Aaron Rodgers, I feel like he on borrowed time. I feel like it was a great investment for the future of the Green Bay Packers. I still don't understand why they don't go out here and get other wide receivers to try to put other players around him. But like I said, I just think that the players, I don't want to say the players, but the organization look at him as an a-hole. And I feel like that was the reason why they decided to do it. TJ, how do you feel about that XFL corner Dietrich Nichols will do? Should we keep him in the slot, in the nickel and packages until he learns the defense? Um, I have to see what the guy has, man. I don't even know if he's gonna make the team. I mean, just because the Saints went out here and signed him don't mean he's gonna make the team. And XFL is one thing, man. We all know, man, them quarterbacks were straight trash. Okay, for the exception of the quarterback for the Houston Roughnecks, I think ironically he played for the Carolina Panthers now. Uh, but besides him, man, the rest of them dudes were hot garbage, man. Them boys threw more picks than Razor Ramon. Them dudes, honestly, man, honestly, it was a pick party, man. Picks left, picks right, everywhere. Everywhere you look, it was an interception. Every drive, it was an interception. So, I probably could have put my 8-year-old nephew out there. He probably could have led the XFL in interception. It was just embarrassing, man. So I have to see what these guys have, man, before I even say anything. And I understand, he did his thing at XFL, but the NFL is a whole different beast. Uh, Kind of for some insurance or neither Jameis or Taysom work out. Um, if you talking about, man, they got Jameis Winston for insurance purposes and also to allow Taysom Hill to do some of the things he did last season. I think you're gonna see a extended package of Taysom Hill. I think you're gonna see more Taysom Hill this year. You might see Taysom Hill run the football. Not, and I'm not talking about like from a spread offense type thing where it's RPOs. I'm talking about him being behind Drew and Drew handing him off the ball. I hate to say this, no, I didn't. Aaron Rodgers is an a-hole. I'm on the floor crying. I'm for real, man. I'm serious, man. Dude is a jackass. Like nobody like him. I want people to understand. Like this dude don't even talk to his own family. I mean, this dude family don't like him. When your mama say that, when your mama don't like you, come on, bruh. How your mama? Never mind. Ask Drew Brees when he got hurt. Fans like Bridgewater, they start chanting his name. That's true, man. They definitely started chanting Teddy, and Drew got out there quick. Drew was like, "Hold up, man. Wait a minute. Now I want him to do good, but not this good." I'm just nah, man. I'm pretty sure, man. Drew a humble guy, man. He's a competitive guy, but he's a humble guy too, and I'm pretty sure part of him was glad that Teddy Bridgewater kind of won the fan base over. But I mean, out of sight, out of mind. No matter who you are. It was a while, man. Honestly, for 5 weeks. I mean, Drew Brees wasn't doing no interviews. Like it was just mostly Teddy and Taysom and all them other guys. And for a couple weeks, people weren't really talking about Drew Brees. I think they probably would have been talking about him more if Teddy was around that thing stinking it up. But he was winning. Uh, looking all fly, TJ, man. Man, I guess, man. So I got some new glasses on Monday, and station manager here gave me this hat, so thought I'd be, support the station and be able to see y'all a little bit better. Uh, Josh Johnson and Jordan Tyamu were also great in the XFL, but other than that, they were pretty doo-doo. Yeah, Josh Johnson, man, don't get me started on that, Invictus. Please don't. I mean, Josh Johnson, man, this man a career backup. I think this man played for every team. This man is like the Greg Ostertag and the Eric Montross of the NFL. Go to every team. Probably got every jersey. Him and Ryan Fitzpatrick, they probably collecting jerseys. You know what I'm saying? Like it's ridiculous. I mean, I never forget that. I think the Redskins signed him a couple of years ago. This dude like got signed Thursday, was playing in the game Sunday. I was like, wow. But I like Josh Johnson. Though. I've been watching him since he was at Texas A&M. It just didn't pan out for him. Who that from Phoenix, Arizona? What's going on, Calvin? Sean, thank you very much for the $2. You think the ref will uh, get off our nuts this year? I don't know, man. It's tough. It's tough to say. I don't know. It's kind of like a parody now, and honestly, it's a good news story. We're like, like when the media talks about the Cowboys and um, and they talk about like the Packers and stuff like that, the Saints and the referees, it's kind of a big story now, so they might keep that narrative running. Do you see my comments? Corey White. Let's see. Let's see. Corey, I just seen it, man. It says, just letting you know I would watch this, but I feel like I've missed a lot. Are you uploading this later? Yeah, man, this will go immediately following me cutting this off, okay? So you'll be able to check it out. So if you missed anything, you'll be able to go back and take a look at it. So Corey White, hope you ain't the Corey White that played for the Saints that gave up more touchdowns, what I'm saying, than any airport in the world. Hope you ain't that Corey White. Nah, I'm just kidding with you, man. Thank you, Corey. Yeah, but you can check it out, once this is over. I think we need a young guy in case Taysom or James doesn't work out. The team, what I got right now is too good, and just wait around for Sean to sign some sleeper quarterback that takes too long to develop. Jack, let me tell you this right here, man. That's a good point that you're making. But at the same time, you can't just go out here and just rush and get a quarterback just to say, okay, man, this might not pan out. You want to get yourself the right guy, okay? You got to get yourself the right guy, okay? You want to get yourself a guy that you can see as a franchise quarterback, and not just like, oh man, this might not pan out, man. We got to do something quick because you end up being in the same position that you started. So if the Saints can go out here and they can get themselves a young quarterback, and if Jameis and Taysom don't pan out, then I say sign the guy. But make sure that you're making the right decision for the team and not just a decision just try to fill a void. Jameis is young. Yeah, Jameis is what 26 years old, so he got a lot of time. TJ, I heard they're doing away with the pass interference challenge. I think they're doing it to spite the Saints. Not to mention they were overturning many PIs this season out of spite. Yeah, it probably was, man. They probably did that because we know that the NFL don't want to like to own up to their mistakes. They don't like doing that. They don't want to own up to those mistakes that they make. They want to be like, man, we're perfect all the time, and the players are not, or the coaches are not. So by them in the Saints like pointing out the biggest imperfection that they have, man, and making them look bad, that they kind of had something out for the New Orleans Saints. So that didn't surprise me at all, and it definitely doesn't surprise me about the pass interference call because now you have the grounds like, well, lot of turns weren't. I mean, a lot of flags weren't being overturned anyway. So now you have that excuse to not bring it back anymore. What's your thoughts on the 6'8", 345-pound defensive lineman we got from the Colts? You talking about Morgus? I think that's his name. Yeah, Morgus. Morgus the Magnificent. Yeah. What do I think about him? I don't know that much about him. I know he just made me think about Morgus the Magnificent. Back in the day when I was a kid. Morgus and Chosley. That's about it. But that's all I got for you, man. I'll learn more about him if he plays and he's productive. I mean, I wish I had more for you, Da, but I don't. Um, I guess I have more information about him, but I like his name, Mortgage. Jameis is younger than Bridgewater and younger than Breeze was in 2006. Yeah, and let's just hope that he don't throw more interceptions than Drew Brees and Teddy Bridgewater did combined. If for playing for the Saints. I like to see the Saints draft Newman or Fields next year. Okay. Justin Fields. Yeah, Justin Fields reminds me of Russell Wilson. So I like Justin Fields. Newman, he's okay, man. Don't really think that much of him, but I think that Justin Fields would be pretty good in the right system. Sean Payton started to get that John Gruden treatment from the refs. And honestly, I'm gonna be honest with you too. Sean Payton starting to be like John Gruden in more ways than we think, especially when it comes to winning one Super Bowl and not having nothing else to show for it. I mean, it's looking kind of rough. Basically he's just living on reputation, just like John Gruden. Do you think we need another scrappy linebacker to go along with the core? The secondary would benefit from more pressure from the D line and second level. I think that they have a person in Zach Vaughn, man. Zach Vaughn is that scrappy young linebacker. And also, man, like I said, Caden Ellis is a scrappy young linebacker. I like the guy, man. I watched him. I watched a little bit of film when he was at Idaho. You know what I'm saying? Potato Boy. I seen him out there. He was doing his thing, man. He was flying all over the field. So I think the Saints do have a lot of young linebackers, man, and I feel like those guys are going to contribute. And Zach Bourne, once again, he's a guy that can stand up and put his hand on the ground, so that's going to be beneficial to the Saints. Let's see. I don't know about that, Victor. Still got a year to see. I think there's at least two quarterbacks that will go before Fields. Yeah, man. I mean, Trevor Lawrence is one. I have to. I mean, I'm pretty sure. I don't know, man. Justin Fields up there. He's up there. He's up there. So I don't know, man. He might be. I know. Well, I know for a fact Trevor Lawrence going number one. This man, this man was gonna go number one since he was 18 years old. So we know that's a fact. He's going number one, and whoever else going number two. I don't know, but that's what's gonna happen. All right, but About to go ahead head up out of here, man. Thank y'all very much for your time. Once again, on tomorrow, we're going to be breaking down the NFL schedule of the New Orleans Saints. Are we going to get some dubs? Are we going to eat some dubs? You know what I'm saying? Are we going to eat some dubs? I don't know. Okay, but we're going to have to break it down, see what the Saints at, and hopefully, man, we get a good season going. Also, we're going to be breaking down some of the NFC South teams' schedules. We're going to check that out and see what they're going to do. Going to be talking about the Panthers. Going to be talking about that team, and we're going to be talking about them Bucks. So thank y'all very much for your time. Y'all have a good and productive evening. Be safe out there, man. If you're on your way home from work, be careful. Focus on the road. Don't be texting and driving out there. Don't be trying to look at old videos of mine or anybody else's or anything like that, man, and be looking up and getting in accidents, man. I don't want that to happen, man. I couldn't have that on my conscience, man. I appreciate y'all too much. So, man, y'all be safe out there. Take care. Be happy, be healthy. And till next time, all I got to say is